Yes, and now we want to talk about the dairy industry. And joining me in studio is Dr. Kipkorir Langat, the Managing Director of the new KCC. Welcome.
Thank you.
It has been an eventful morning for you, and we're glad that you're here.
Yeah, I made it, but I was stuck in the airport in the plane for more than 30 minutes after flying for 45 minutes from Mombasa.
Let's just get straight into the interview. The dairy sector is undergoing a lot of reforms as we speak, and from where you sit, how is the sector currently performing?
The sector has performed very well in the last 10 years. It continues to perform very well. At the present time, there is refocus on the production side with the coming in of the counties, where the county governments are now paying very close attention. Some 27 or so counties consider themselves as dairy counties, and they are refocusing back on the production sector because at some stage, processors do find shortages of milk here and there.
And there's been a lot of uptick as well in terms of milk production. And are we seeing farmers being able to meet the demand?
It really varies. What happens is that for the most part in the last 4 years, the production has been slightly below the demand because of challenges farmers have with issues to do with fodder and feeding the cattle. A refocus of which is taking place now. Yeah. But with the growing middle class, we find that the demand for milk, particularly for higher value-added products, is really growing, and it's going to continue to grow. We take, of course, cognizance of the fact that Kenya is one of the highest milk-consuming countries in Africa, with 100 kilos per capita per annum. This is something that will continue to grow even as the middle class grows.
There's a lot of optimism now that you are at the helm of the new KCC. And from where you sit, what are some of the key issues that you'd want to change there?
I am actually retiring from new KCC at the end of the month, and I have been there in the last 4 years.
Sorry for that.
The actual challenges that are there is we want... New KCC 10 years ago went into the hands of government through a process of buying back from some people who had bought it from the farmers earlier. And that process is not complete, so it remains an unfinished business which I would like to see done in the shortest time possible, returning the company back to the farmers who want it in the first place.
Do you agree with the government's view in terms of privatizing this particular entity?
Yes, it was a promise in 2003 when the government took over new KCC that they would return it to the farmers. The whole company, we are currently running 90 years of new KCC history since 1925. And it was a farmer-based company all the way until some time in 1999 up to the year 2000, and when it went into private hands and came back to the government in 2003. And the government had made a promise to privatize. So yeah, I agree with them that we should.
There's a lot of speculation as to how the privatization will be carried out. And a lot of farmers are of the view that the percentages that have been set aside in terms of what the farmers can buy in terms of shares, and also what investors can put in, is there's a bit of people not feeling comfortable.
The best I can say is that I may not be the authority to decide on what percentages will be agreed on, but what I know is that the process had reached a stage whereby the stakeholders, particularly the farmers, were now on the table discussing those percentages. And the farmers have made clear their demands that they would like to see an absolute majority in the share ownership. And the government was taking that into consideration. Let's understand it that there is no, the law allows for negotiations by key stakeholders. And in this particular case, the farmers are overwhelmingly the largest stakeholder. And I'm sure they will find and they'll be accommodated very well when that process comes to an end.
So you feel the value for farmers will be intact in the company?
For sure. Yes.
And just shifting gears a bit, you also are the chairperson of the association as well when it comes to the dairy industry. And we've seen quite a lot happening in the dairy sector where private companies or the big companies are buying the smaller companies. Is this healthy for the sector?
As the chairman of the Dairy Processors Association, I would not want to specifically speak about any of my members and the developments that are there. I'll only say this. Before 1999 or before the 90s, Kenya had only one company, KCC. And it was the company that collected, processed and supplied milk for the whole country. Yeah. With liberalization, other players came in and they have thrived over the time, particularly the period when in the early 2000 when KCC went into some problems. Yeah. But what is happening in the sector generally where there is a little bit of consolidation going on is not only going back to what we were a consolidated industry before, but it is just going by the trend that you find all over the world. In many top dairy countries today, there is one or two dominant players. In fact, in a country like Denmark, it's almost one dominant player. Yeah. You go to Netherlands, one player does 80% of the business. You go to New Zealand, the same. It's the nature of the business. It's a high volume, a high turnover, low margin business, and the bigger you are, the lower your costs. While I'm not advocating for monopolistic processes, I'm saying there's room for very many small players to specialize in producing products like cheese and yogurts in a very specialized manner and remain small, but there is a bigger space for larger companies. In this country, probably the large companies are 4 or 5 right now. And there's another 20 or so which are active in the dairy industry. Yeah. With the ones who are in my membership being 13 of the top companies in the country today. Yes. And
maybe as we wind up, what are some of the key highlights of your tenure now that you are the outgoing MD of the new KCC, and where would you like to see the company in the next few years?
Allow me specifically to talk about my tenure as the chairman of Kenya Dairy Processors Association. In the last few years, we have consolidated our association specifically not to spearhead the growth of the dairy industry, particularly the growth in modernization of processing, in creation of value adding, and specifically in ensuring that the Kenyan consumers receive packaged hygienic milk, which is the kind of campaign that we have been running in the last 3 months to increase not just consumption, but to bring the attention of the public, of the Kenyan consumers, that it is important to ensure that the milk that you are taking is neatly processed, packaged, so that you consume without any deleterious effects. We are also working on information generally on the value of milk in terms of nutrition. And
is this tied up with the campaign you started that Dairy Has It All?
This is the campaign. This is the second phase of the campaign. We had the first one where Stay Young, Do Milk, where we were really focusing on the young people. This one is now focusing on the whole population. And we are promoting not just the values that are in milk, but actually the cleanness and the hygienic status of the milk that is there. But coming to your question, I think I've already said that a new KCC, if there's one undone job, it is the privatization bit. I believe that when I went in, I thought I would complete the process, but for a variety of reasons completely outside the company, we were not able to complete that process. And it is only at the point at which privatization has taken place that new capital will come into the company so that the company can complete its modernization process that has been going on since the year 2000 and consolidate its work across the country, delivering the very wide network of products that they are currently delivering.
Very interesting insights there, and unfortunately we've run out of time. but we do appreciate for you making time to be with us and just sharing with us the insights around the dairy sector. And we wish you well.
Thank you.
And I will be keeping an eye on the activities of the Dairy Processors Association, what you will be doing and the impact it will be having on the many Kenyans. Well, we've been speaking to Dr. Kipkorir Langat, the outgoing MD of the new KCC and also the chairman of the Kenya Dairy Processors Association, who is of the view that privatizing the dairy industry is actually the way to go, and farmers are likely to get better returns moving forward. Well, that brings us to the end of our Business Chat segment for this week. My name is Abia.